What is going on, guys and girls? How are you doing today? It's Single Roleplay here once again. Today I want to talk about the Blighted tower defense techniques, mechanics, and how I approach the Blighted encounters, guys. The league is kind of free, week old now, and probably you have developed your own technique for defeating Blighted maps, but for some people it's not entirely clear what is the best tactics to successfully complete the encounters, what are the best towers, what you should be doing with this, and overall it's still quite a bit of a mystery what to do with, especially the high tier towers. What builds can successfully do these encounters, what you should be looking for, what are the most annoying, offensive, high damage monsters, which are the best towers, what are for the fans, what is for fans. So here are my thoughts on the meta, guys. I hope you find this information useful. Let's get going. Before we go further into the video, I would like to stop for a second and thank my Patreon supporters and Twitch subscribers. You guys have no fucking idea how much I'm thankful for you. If you just stop for a second and put likes on this video and share it with your friends, it will be already an insane amount of support, and I will be forever grateful to every one of you. Thank you so much, and remember,
you, yes you, are making a difference.
the first thing that you need to do when you enter the Blighted map is to scout the area and understand what kind of layout you are dealing with, because some maps can have corridors, some have maps just in big open areas, some maps can be really big, some maps can be really small, and this will allow you to plan your tactics for defending your pump, specifically because if the map has a small area down below and the long big area up, definitely the area that is up will spawn way more portals than the one below, so you will need to protect the higher part of the map stronger and plant more damaging and defensive towers out there. So looking at the layout is pretty damn important, so do not start your pump before you check the layout of the map. The next important thing is to actually know your build, because not all builds can successfully do the Blighted maps. You need to know the strong part of the build as well as the weak part of the build. If your build is lacking damage, then you obviously need more offensive towers like the Meteor or the Cold Tower or even the Lightning Tower. If your build is not lacking the firepower but is lacking mobility, if you're lacking movement speed or just not good at observing shit on the screen, because a lot of monsters will be coming from all over, then I would definitely recommend the slowing down towers like the stunning tower, which can also petrify monsters when you upgrade it, as well as the slow cold tower, which I personally use a lot, which allows me to slow down monsters and give me more time to engage and observe things and actually kill them before they reach the pump. Next important thing about defending the pump is to actually have AoE in your build, guys. If you have just a single target and have no AoE or don't have a lot of minions messing around, you will probably not be able to just kill all monsters in time. Of course, it can be mitigated and kind of help through different types of towers, but overall, you need fucking AoE. If your specters are mostly single target and have no splash or projectiles or pierce or chain or whatever, most likely you will not be able to defeat this shit ton waves of monsters coming you from all over, and some will eventually reach your pump and kill it. So having some kind of AoE is extremely important for successfully defending your pump, so make sure you have it. Without it, you will have really big problems. Another super important thing, which is in my opinion is a key to defending the pump, is watching the minimap, watching always where your pump is, and watching this red dots, which are actually monsters coming. So do not just watch the towers, always have one eye on the minimap so you can actually see where they're coming from. some monsters can really speed it up and absolutely like rush to your pump and destroy it in fucking under a second. So you need to always keep up with the minimap. One super important thing, once again, and which I believe is literally the most important thing, is staying in the center of the pump. Literally be close to the pump as much as possible, and do not go to the ends, and just don't waste your time rushing to the ends of the map trying to pump all these towers near the portals. This is absolutely worthless. Just pop the towers near the pump and let them do the job. There's no need to upgrade a lot of the towers. Just make sure you upgrade the towers that are pretty nearby. Upgrade them to the absolute maximum firepower, and this will be your kind of defensive sector, defensive layout, which allow you to successfully defend and suppress all incoming damage. So once again, I repeat, try to stay near the center of the pump. Always maneuver, do not stand still, always be on the move, because some portals can spawn pretty much close. So be always in the move, do not stand still. Try to be in the center and make sure you upgrade the towers to the max near the center of the pump. This is it. Now let's talk about the actual towers, guys, and I'll let you know what I think about different types of them. Well, here is kind of a tower shit list that basically has all types of towers and allow you to see what are they doing and what they can be useful for. I will link this in the description as well. So I want to talk about some of this and which one I use. So the first is definitely the fire tower, which can be upgraded to the meteor, and the flamethrower. Both are actually pretty damn good, and if you're lacking the damage, this is absolutely a thing to go. Meteor tower is probably my favorite, and when I lack the damage on my glacial cascade, I highly recommend this one, since it really covers the big area. It does a lot of damage and burns the fuck out of them. So for the damage, meteor tower is one of the best. Next come the cold tower, which can be upgraded to the glacial cage tower and the freeze ball tower. This I personally recommend to place near the pump. I absolutely always use glacial cage tower everywhere near the pump to just freeze the giant unique monsters coming. They are super tanky. They can hit the pump so fucking hard they can actually destroy it in one hit, especially in the maps, like not in the Blighted but in just in normal maps. They hit once and your Blight pump gets wrecked. So glacial cage towers creates a frost wall spell, imprisoning any monsters, being it small, big or uniques, doesn't matter. It does fucking help a lot. It also chills and slows them, so I always place this near the pump, like surrounding everywhere. The next is the minion tower, which can be upgraded to the sentinel, and the scout tower. Scout tower is flying mobs, which are 10 of them. They do decent amount of damage. They pretty much are very nasty as well, and the sentinel tower summons one giant big ass mob as well. I really like this tower. There are two types of towers which are my personal favorites, which are the cold and the minion tower. I spawn this a lot. What minions do is they mess around and they stop down, they try to fight the blighted monsters, and they actually provide you some kind of a delay enough so they can come to the mob and kill them entirely. They mess around, they slow them down a lot, they actually fight, they actually kill. They are extremely useful, and I always get both the scouts and the sentinels as well as the glacial cage towers, and that's pretty much all I use. If I feel I'm lacking the damage and I need more firepower, I start spawning the meteor towers. The next is a kind of an empowering tower, which can be used to upgrade in the smothering and imbuing tower. Smothering just weakens enemies in range, which is kind of a bit of a useless for me. I would prefer more meteors instead. And the second one is imbuing tower, which is improves the effectiveness of you in range. I don't really know how much it does in terms of the buff, but to be honest, this is one I also use once in a while, especially near the pump where you usually run around trying to kill all these crazy mobs. So imbuing tower, maybe 1 or 2 can be useful, but not that much in my opinion. The next one is the stone tower. This is kind of an earth-based tower, which can be upgraded in the stone gaze tower and temporal tower. Stone gaze is also very cool. It slows down and petrifies monsters like the basilisk petrification and the void gaze and all that shit. It actually pretty damn strong. It pretty much does the same shit as the glacial cage tower, although it completely petrifies the mobs. It is very powerful, but unfortunately between the two, between the glacial cage and the stone gaze tower, I would probably recommend a glacial cage tower, simply because it gives you also quite a bit of time to kill these fat uniques as well. It slows down in general, so I will still recommend glacial cage tower. In the temporal tower is a slow tower, but unfortunately it's not very useful for some maps where you can slow down the mobs below the base values. So this is very occasional tower in general. The last is the lightning based tower, which costs arc, which is the arc tower, and the second is lightning storm tower, which does the high damage. I personally do not use this tower. I personally use this only when I see that the mobs coming from the blighted portals have some kind of resistance to the minions or to the cold, to the fire. They use this, but overall I prefer something else, like the meteors and the slowing and the minions and all that shit. Lightning, I think that is mostly like an additional DPS tower, which can be useful in the low tiers, but in the high tiers I would recommend something that really slows down kind of monsters instead of trying to damage them with the shit kind of damage that the arc and the lightning storm does. So I think that meteor still does the best job. So this is about the tower, guys, and make sure you watch this type of these marks on over the blighted portals, because they show you what kind of resistance they have. If there is a minion, a tower, just do not build minions nearby. If there is a cold blighted portal, they don't build cold towers nearby. If this is a flame portal, they do not plant the fire-based tower nearby. They will have completely resistance to them. So watch these things on top as well. The last but not the least is about the monsters themselves coming from the blighted towers. Like I said, you should be watching these types of portals coming out, but overall, if you are close and the portals spawn somewhere far from you, you will still be the main source of damage for your blighted map. So I do not really watch this type of resistance on top of these portals that much. I just prefer to DPS more and just slow them down and have them occupied with the minions. So it's not entirely crazy in my opinion, but this is important if you're lacking the damage. If you're in a very high like red tiers encounter, you should watch this as well. So important thing about the monsters is do not let them gather in giant masses with the fire and poison damage. There are two types of mobs that kill me all the fucking time, and they have been machine gunned by the fire damage. They shoot some kind of fire speeding fireballs, as well as the poison based fireballs, like kind of speeding projectiles with poison and fire. If they gather in a big line of these monsters, and they can shoot like one of this, they can absolutely just machine gun you in no time. And this is how I died quite a bit of times, just to watch the fire and poison monsters. Do not let them machine gun you. Always be on the move. Absolutely never stand still. This is the key for your survival. I know that a lot of minion summoners and necromancers prefer to just stand still and just chill while the minions do the job, but then they just instantly die because they don't see this machine gunning damage coming to them. So this is their own fault, because they were not being actively moving. They had not been paying attention to the monsters coming, and they would just die. This is not how it should be played. So always be on the move. This is very important. The last thing that I want to say about is about the solo versus the group play for the Blighted Maps. If you feel like you are really struggling with the damage or keeping up with watching what is coming to your pump and dying simply because you couldn't just see the monsters coming, make sure you guys invite someone to help you with the Blighted Maps. Do not try this alone, because this is pretty not easy thing to do alone, especially on the red tiers where you can just not have the damage enough to suppress all the incoming mobs. So for the white and the yellow tiers, it's not really a big giant problem if you have a lot of damage, but even for the yellow tiers it can be a little problematical when a bunch of unique mobs coming from the portals. They can be super tanky and they can really hit the pump hard and you just fail for no good reason. So if you feel like you are struggling, call someone to help you and divide the drops or just ask for help. So I think that Blighted Maps in general have been strongly designed with the group play and thought, with the parties. So doing them solo can only be done on the white and yellow tiers, but the reds can be pretty damn crazy, guys. So make sure you call someone for help. This is it, guys. I really hope you learn something from this. This is my strategy to successfully defeating the Blighted Maps and overall the Blight encounters. Thanks for watching and see you soon.